What's happening, audience? Huh? How you been? Been all right? Cheers. Ooh, la la. Sorry, it's like my shirt is ripped from all the fighting. You know what I'm saying? That's actually a true story, but for another time. Uh, in this video, I want to talk about Web 3.0 and onboarding to Web 3.0 and the importance of onboarding to Web 3.0 from Web 2.0. And we say, what the fuck is Web 2.0? Web 2.0 is the corporate media. Corporate media is Web 2.0. And I will say that that was the biggest disaster in 21st century. Okay? It was the biggest disaster in the 21st century. It wasn't an atomic bomb. It was Web 2.0 corporate media. Because how many people got hurt by atomic bomb and how many people are suffering by participating in these applications every day, spending fucking hours and hours and rotting their fucking brain, giving the energy to keep the Satan alive. And to me, Satan is not some sort of like a scary entity or whatever. No, it's a code. It's a matrix code. That's all it is. And that code is represented in every corporate application that has been written. Okay, because it has the conflict of interest. It doesn't want what your soul wants. It wants to facilitate and grow your ego. That's what it wants. It's written, and even it manifests like as an advertising, right? So then, say they want to sell as much ads as possible because that's profit. And so then they say, how can we manipulate people in the best way possible? I mean, I'm not saying anything new, right? But I'm just saying maybe it's time to, because there is now a chance to move away from these applications onto Web 3.0 because now something exists where you can onboard and live, still connect with other people, but actually connect. Because in this world, it's nothing about fucking connection. It's all about attention, which is ego based. You see? And even the friends could be part of this. Friends may become enemies because of that code that through which they're interacting. Because this is what separates people and this is what splits people up. It's the matrix. And so when people buy into this fucking thing, then they don't see each other. They see each other through the matrix. And this is why people are so, fucked up by these applications. Because like if you try to socialize, and this is why I don't, like, my group of friends are nothing to do with the fucking social media, corporate social media, And so then I can have fun with them. But if as long as a person comes in or from these identity politics or whatever, they don't even see the people. You can say something and then they start projecting the identity onto you rather than just having fun, Words are like you can't say certain words. Or it's like, no, go fuck yourself, I'll say whatever the fuck I want. And if that's your fucking problem. Because why am I saying whatever the fuck I want? Because it's fun. That's what I'm doing. I'm not here to take no fucking side or whatever, because fun has no side. Fun is universal. Everybody can have fun. And I'll use whatever the fucking words I want to use if that's how I want to express myself. So, and that's how it's supposed to be. I think that's why, like, comedians, they're the only fucking people who still hold that the reality of the truth, because they say it like it is, unapologetically, for the sake of fun. That's how it's supposed to be. But anyway, not without going too much into on this subject, I want to go back to the importance of onboarding to Web 3.0 and what that is. Okay. So yeah, well, I mentioned advertising. advertising is adverse reaction. It's something that takes your attention away from your path, your purpose, your soul desire. Right? It distracts you, and it does not put your best product in. And of course, as a consequence, it's like it completely. In order for them to make a profit, they need to destroy people's brain, and because that's how they create that adverse reaction. So you see, everything is nothing to do with the facilitation of the growth of your soul. Everything is facilitating the growth of your ego, which just creates more and more suffering. The more suffering great, the more dependent you become on these apps or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just a downward fucking spiral, the biggest disaster of 21st century. And if you want to measure based on how, like, okay, let's look at it a little bit more rational. If you want to measure what is disaster and what is not, then so like you have to say that suffering would be something that is no, right? Okay, so if the suffering and bliss on one side and suffering on the other, and you say what creates the most suffering, what facilities and creates the most suffering in this world, you will go back all the way to this reality of corporate media. That's what you would do. All corporate media. If you go deeper, then you see like, why would they fucking do this shit? Then you would get into the matrix, and then you say, why the fuck this matrix is against what my soul desires, and then you'll have to conclude that that matrix is there to challenge you, and it's not there to say of like sometimes fucking these spiritual gurus or like so-called just any spiritual authority or physical authority is nonsense. But anyway, without going too much into this, what I'm trying to say, this idea that somebody can say like, well, if you're enlightened, you just accept everything as is. What a load of bullshit. What a fucking nonsense. Of course you don't. If you're enlightened, you sit in your ass and you make no change, you're a pussy. That's what you are. And it's not, I'm not saying in the negative way, because pussies are nice, but they're feminine. But you're not hard. You're not a man. A man sees something that's corrupt and finds a way to change it to something that is correct. That's the job of a man. And so this is why I have zero respect for all these so-called enlightened fucking people who sell you this premise that it's about leaving this earth and becoming closer to God, and that's it. This earth is just to escape. That's absolute nonsense. Earth is the game. Earth is to see that something is corrupt, reimagine something that is correct. And yes, it is important to get to the point where you just accept everything as is, so then you don't have the angst for it, because if you have an angst for it, you're not gonna create something that is harmonious, because you're gonna create more of the same fucking shit, fighting the thing that you don't like and creating more of it. That's what happens if you don't go all the way and accept that pain, that hurt inside of you, and you zero it out. But that's just half of the game. You have that fire, that anger about whatever the fuck is incorrect, corrupt, burn it all, zero it out, but you don't stay there, because it's about death. You let the patterns of the matrix die. But then there's another side of it. There's you got to now you're in a position to make a change, that you're not attached to the outcome. Now you can create something that is correct. Okay, so this is not for the arguments. This is how nature works, and this is why like, look at this world. It's pretty fucked up still. Okay, so what the fuck all these so-called powerful enlightened people are doing? They making no change at all, because they're not powerful at all. Because accepting everything as is just half the puzzle, and it's not easy, because you got to surrender and all that stuff. But then the next part, that's what the real challenge comes in, because you have to face something that is you got to face something. Man, you got to create the pattern that wasn't there before. But everything is fighting that pattern. But you got to protect it, you got to create it, and sustain it. And that's a man's job. And it wasn't done here. This game still is on and still is not beaten. There's a lot to do to beat this game. And what is my measurement of this game being beaten? Which is just the first phase, by the way, is the existence of holistic way of living. And I'm not saying this world is like, woo-woo kind of shit or whatever. No, it's very tangible, it's very real. It's the structure of the society. Right now we have a backward structure, everything's top down. But the real structure is everything's from the bottom up. From each single individual taking responsibility, becoming sustainable as an individual, and then as a family, then as a society, then as a trading groups or whatever, and then like that. That is a structure. That's the holistic structure, and it's based on the premise that the reality is holographic. And right now, this society, even people call society, enemy society. No, it depends which society, because this society, and that's based on this corporate media, nonsense. Yes, that is a corrupt society, but it doesn't mean that you can't have the correct society. This corrupt society is only an example to see what not to do, so you can find out how the fuck to do something that it does work, and it can totally be done. And I don't know, people some of these spiritual figures, like they collect the money people donate, and then they build some bullshit ass fucking statues for just to get their fucking attention, and they're not really a real soulful beings. They're just the same fucking matrix assholes pretending that they know something because they read a fucking book, but inside there's nothing there. There's no radiance, there's no real soul being, just NPC. Because if they would be somebody with the soul, they would use all these finances to create the structures that work, even if on a small scale. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's in this game, playing this game, trying to put a float. And it's like, then that's how they measure success. No, that's fucking failure. Being successful on Instagram or Facebook is a disaster in your life. The bigger the fucking success it is, the smaller the soul you have. Just the way it is. So anyway, everything's backward in the society, but that's not to say that we can build a society that is forward, not backward. And it's not a utopia. Problems don't go away. Challenges are still there, but the way they're being dealt with is you plant a flower in this shit, and you get the flower out of this. That's how you're supposed to deal with this reality, this world. Problems do not go away, but the way you deal with them is you make something awesome out of it. You always squeeze some lemonade out of that lemon, So anyway, speaking about specific applications, I'm already onboarding on Web 3.0. There is a replacement for the Instagram called Pixel Fed. It's a decentralized application. And by the way, Web 3.0 must always be in those three categories to be genuine Web 3.0. Don't buy this bullshit of Web 2.0 trying to act as Web 3.0. Don't be gullible. It has to be open source, P2P, and decentralized. Meaning there's no corporations, no person in the middle. It has to be a decentralized protocol. Okay, this is why like this might be like some other applications that they create to be competing with the ones that are censored, but then they create their own, like for example, Rumble. It's nonsense. It's not decentralized. It's not Web 3.0. It's still Web 2.0. So, okay, Pixel Fed, replacement for Instagram. Mastodon is a replacement for the Twitter or X, now it's called. Twitter and X, same. Web 2.0, everything that happens there is absolute corrupt and absolute bullshit and is nonsense. Just grown fucking men, reputable men, arguing about who's, like a pissing match and stuff like that. It's embarrassing. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. Web 3.0. I'm also experimenting with this application called Minds as a replacement for Facebook, but I'm actually looking for a better application because I I'm not quite I have not fully investigated if it's indeed centralized or not. But anyway, I'm looking for the replacement for the Facebook as well. Okay, but I really love Mastodon and I really love PixelFed because they all match the criteria of Web 3.0. It's beautiful, it's excellent, it works perfectly, it was great. Of course, there are a few viewers there, but that's okay because the people that I'm interacting, I'm all going to invite them into that group, and we're going to be sharing things the way we want, whatever we want to share without no fucking ads, with no agendas. Nobody's feeding us distractions, stuff like that. It's going to be about a social network, about this, and it's how it's supposed to be, and I'm already naturally not using because it just makes me a little nauseous to even be on these applications. That's why I'm already not using it. I'm already if I want to share something, I share with the person, or a small group of people that are interested in whatever I'm sharing. That's what it's supposed to be. And everybody's supposed to, can interact with me and on a personal basis, video chat, video call, like like humans used to do. So, I hope communicating enough the disaster level of Web 2.0. You see people even sometimes, I mean, come on. It used to be this. Some sexy picture used to be shared by like one woman to the man that she loves or whatever. And it was special and it was intimate and it was personal and it was beautiful. Now, for fucking millions to see, what is the value there? And then they even dare to talk to these millions of followers as if it's like one person that they care about. Go fuck yourself. What the fuck are you talking about? Who are you talking to? Don't fucking talk to me as a mass because I'm an individual. If you referring, I'm trying to say, if you're referring and if you saying that like you miss somebody, don't insult people's intelligence by saying this to a mass. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. It's not a connection. It's attention. It's full of shit and it's bullshit. And you're only doing it to get an attention and you're manipulating people. So shut the fuck up. And so that's why, no, this is not part of my reality. Any kind of emotional empathy manipulation, fuck off. So, and also other apps like Uber, great idea. Web 2.0, disaster. Gotta find that Web 3.0 alternative to Uber. Airbnb, all these other applications, little by little, the entire digital media has to move on Web 3.0 if you want to have your own authority, your soul, and connect with other people without fighting over fucking nothing, identity politics and all this nonsense and bullshit, and without watching a kitten and then a fucking murder, to being, having your mind fucked with, so then you don't even know what the fuck is right. They tell you who you are and what you need to do and what you need to buy and all that stuff. The entire Web 2.0 corporate media reality is definition of hell. If you really look at it deeply enough, and sometimes, like I said before, like if you have people arguing that's your fault, it's fault, no, it's left, no, it's right, no, it's this, no, it's this, these are people evil. No, it's where you are. You are in a reality which facilitates conflict. Rather than having the problem and planting the flower in the manure, like resolving the issue it's supposed to be. This is why, like I said, these holistic structure societies, it's about not utopia, not everything's perfect, but resolving problems as they arise in a functional way. And you can have people resolve a problem if they themselves are problematic, if they're fragmented, so to speak. Because that's how you solve a problem. There is a problem, there is a trigger, you got to alchemize that thing, it no longer be triggered by it anymore. And so therefore now you have a capacity to create another type of reality, because your structure of your heart can create something that is based on the structure of your heart. You can never create something that besides of who you are. Now what you do, not what you say, this is who you are. Okay, and so that's why you got to use this Web 3.0 as the biggest fragmentation disaster to alchemize it, whatever is there to alchemize, and just go to Web 3.0. And you got to be strong enough to say, like, to ban that in your reality. Like even Google, it went wrong when it started making ads. It was like, don't be evil to be evil, like, that's what happened to Google. But fuck that shit, man. We live in a world where technology exists, where we have sufficient innovation to connect person to person, do business, have fun, have entertainment, with no corporate involved in between. Even the movie industry, music industry, everything. This is kind of ready already, This is why, like, all the applications that I have right now, what I'm using right now, I'm just going to leave the links to my Web 3.0 alternative, and say that if you wanna, I'm only posting Web 3.0. That's the decision that I make in my life, because I don't want to participate in a corrupt society that's written on the corrupt code. It's just not, I don't want to be part of this nonsense. I don't want to put my attention, contribute to that disaster. And you should, obviously, if you respect your own life, that's what you would say. Like, your attention is the highest value. You move away your attention from there, and move away attention where something good is happening. So, all right. Okay. Now, Odyssey.com is also a great alternative to YouTube. It's Web 3.0 as well. YouTube is Web 2.0, and I'm right now posting it on YouTube. And says, why are you doing this? YouTube, Web 2.0 as well, and I have to onboard in Web 3.0, even with my videos. But I have to leave a bridge. So maybe in the future I'll just post little clips on the YouTube and direct people on Odyssey.com. And so this is why I won't just delete my accounts on all these, but I'll just not post the real content. I will post my real content on other applications and have the links there in case people find me on Facebook and find nothing there. And if they want to see a single photo of me, they have to click and find me on another application where those photos are. because there has to be a bridge. And eventually, once I get to the point where there's nobody's coming from this world anymore, I'll just shut it down. Because when Web 3.0 is going to be strong enough and I'll have my own circle and I'm functioning perfectly well, my business is running on that Web 3.0, my friendships are running on Web 3.0, when my whole entire life is sustained by Web 3.0, I no longer need Web 2.0, and I just cut that out. Okay? And that's going to be my digital reality based on a code where it sustains harmony and fun and enjoyment and also awesome stuff in life. Okay. What else I can say about this? Right now, it's a good time to onboard to Web 3.0 because the generation is accelerating on these other applications with the dawn of the AI and all these other tools that are and yeah, like I said before, there's only your world. There's no world out there, because everything you're going to have experiences is going to be always the pixels and sensations, emotions, and thought patterns. It's always, you're never going to experience anything else. You may say, what about the collected? Doesn't that exist? Because you can enter like the place where the tension is high, let's just say, right? And so everybody in that place are just really suspicious about one another and just looking for the steal, and you have like this matrix of survival, and there are these places in the world where you just go there and it's just all about fucking survival, but so yes, there's going to be a contrast. And so in order for you to know how to function in a survival area or the game, you obviously you gotta be tempered in that world too. So in that world, you're not fucking trusting people, and you're not gullible. You know exactly what it is. You know how they work and stuff like that. But at the same time, because they can't get to you, you can still be peaceful and chill and just spread a little bit more of that peace and chill to other people who were kind of tensed because of their survival mode, because of that matrix reality in that area. You see, so in that sense, there is a collective, but that collective as a game, as creating a challenge for you. Okay? But if in your reality, there is no corporate media, and you still have all your friends, your business is running smoothly and well, and there's no advertising, and by the way, advertising does not put the best product for the best price, is actually put the worst product for the worst price to you. So, and even some people say like, well, if you spend 1 million on advertising and you make 1.1 million, isn't that a profit? Yes, but you sold your soul and you spent 1 million. Where the fuck that energy went? For what purpose? So no, that is not. The correct thing is to spend 0 on the fucking ads and make 100,000. That's the correct way, because you have not sold your soul and not fed some fucking agenda that is just, facilitates the suffering. And also I want to say that this Web 2.0 corporate media created the most suffering in the world. And if you judge of what structure created the most suffering, you would have to say that this is actually worse than atomic bomb. If bliss is a measure of happiness and the suffering is a measure of disaster, right? The suffering is something how you play the game wrong and you end up in the suffering. And that suffering, if you actually, suffering, I have to distinguish. Suffering and pain is different. Life will always bring you something that is painful, but what you're gonna do with it, you can perpetuate the suffering with that pain, or you can face that pain and make something good out of it. That's what you do, and this is the whole reverse way of living. One is basically perpetuating that pain. Well, I have a pain, so now how am I going to pacify that pain so not to feel that pain? You're going to have to create something to pacify that pain, but that's going to hurt another one. Okay? And so that's how you propagate the suffering. So you got to cut that way that's not how you live your life. Suffering is not how you live your life. It is not part of this reality. It's just showing you how not to live your life, and how that you did something wrong, that you did not, because the game has to give you feedback. So, yes, you did something right. No, you did something wrong. And suffering is that it's telling you that you did something wrong and you have not really played it right. Okay. And so, how many people are part of these applications rotting their brains, and suffering. And I'm not saying this like lightly as well, because it may seem like kind of, oh, it's kind of innocence, isn't it? It's just applications, the videos and stuff like that. But what does it do to a person? And how soon there's no person left but just structures and beliefs and all that stuff. And there's no genuine joy, just seeking for the hit, for the dopamine hit and pleasure. So it is uh, the worst things that happen in 21st century. Okay, and when people are going to wake up, they're going to look back and they're going to see this is the worst disaster that have ever happened. And people who developed it, I don't want to mention names because they don't really deserve any mention, were the drivers of this biggest disaster. And it's in some world, I mean, in this world, they are being celebrated. And so you see, in this world is actually the biggest, well, the biggest loser is actually a winner. To be a winner in this world is you're actually a loser in life. Okay, so it really is like that. I'm just telling you the truth. But the good news is that we already have the Web 3.0 digital world where we can live our life the way we want to live without all these corporate, organizations that are getting in between. You got to cut them out. Corporate, corpo, body should only be responsible for creating tangible goods. And they must sell them based on the merit and in a free market. And whenever person decides that he needs something, not because he's been manipulated to need something, but genuinely needs something, because it's building or whatever, then you go on the market. And in that free market, those corporations must compete for the best product for the best price. No advertising. In this reality, advertising is not permitted because it's the symptom of evil. Okay? In my world, advertising does not exist. It's evil. And even on YouTube, I use YouTube. It's still Web 2.0, but I use YouTube with no ads. I don't allow ads to exist in my reality. And there's just one app messes with this, out. I'm out. I'm finding another one. Even in TradingView, started pulling fucking ads and all these pop-ups to annoy the fuck out of you, to upsell you. Fuck you. There's another app called Profit, and I'm looking at this, built by the community as well. And I'm already looking to onboard in another app. And so this is what I'm doing in my life. I'm only accepting corporation build a tangible good. They're good at this. And provide a tangible service. Okay? Everything else, you cannot have software corporation, you cannot have media corporation, you cannot have any of this. Really, I'm seriously telling you that you can't have that if you want to have a society that is built in the correct way. It's broken. The law of consciousness, the law of the universe is broken with that idea that it's okay to have corporation managing information. And anyway, I don't want to expand too much on this, but um, I mean, now you can see the symptom. The billions of people are really messed up in the head because of this. I mean, how people can't relate. At least, I mean, in my circles, I still hang out with people who are not really part of this corporate social media, and so can still have fun. But I can see how other people are getting lost in it, and I'm not going to be the one. And I'm just going to invite all the closest people to me to those applications, to Web 3.0, and to relate to one another in a genuine, authentic, uh, you know, connecting way. Okay, it's all about soul, not about ego. Ego, the only purpose of the ego is to find out what's not the way, in order so you can find out what is the way. That's the purpose of the ego. Ego is not supposed to be long lived. Ego is supposed to be very short lived. It just points you. Event happens, poof, some emotion, negative emotion, poof, it points you, says like, hey, look at that. You go into this, you alchemize it, you find out what it was all about, what you saw you didn't like. You found out that there was a pain about that subject. Now you think about that event, there's no longer pain there. That's done now. And then you can see what was the other side. Like, if I was so upset about this event, what do I really want? It's like, oh, because like, if I've been cheated on or whatever, or manipulated, you see, like, well, that really hurts me, which means that on the other side, I really value the loyalty, or I really value honesty or transparency or whatever. And so then you focus on that, and then something that is more loyal, more transparent, more honest comes into your life. And that's the purpose of the ego. So, yeah. Um, yeah, that world is done. It never was. I've never, from the beginning of the inception of these ideas, it never felt right to me. I've never had any, like, a real value. I've never had fun over these applications. And I think if you're honest with yourself, you're probably going to find that too. The best moments of my life was completely off the screen, where I didn't have to think about, like, oh, I have to capture it, I have to capture this moment. No, I fucking lived it. And nobody, just me, lived this, or people that were around me lived that moment, and it's not recorded. Maybe the only place that has been recorded is in my heart. And so I'd rather have that, you know. I mean, it's all right. Once in a while, you take, just like we used to share, like, a little bit, like you share something, but with a friend, and what's happening with you, like, that's what's happening. Just like, because there's actual, it's about connection. It's not about, like, look at me and I need attention kind of thing. No, it's about real sharing. Anyway, and then you can say, well, is the chicken or the egg? Is, like, is that the people's fault that they are there, or the structure that is very addictive. I think it's both, because only a few people can actually break through the matrix, so to speak, and the rest, they always flock to where is the best structure that exists. Just like there's planets and there's suns, so they're gonna flock with the best sun that exists, and it's just the way it is. Don't ask them to be sun if they're not. But for these people, you got to provide the spaces where they're better than where they are, and say, hey, check this out. But other people, they, like a lot of people that listening to me, they probably already know this, and I don't really need to tell them that that's what's already going on, because you intuitively you feel it. And so, but the people in your reality, you're gonna have to invite to the spaces that are awesome, and they're gonna see, fuck, this place is so much cooler than that motherfucking place. So I'm not going back. And so, not everybody is a pioneer, but that's okay. And as long as the people are open for this, as long as the people are fed up with this, they're open for something that is real life, based on a code that is awesome. Anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it there, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm putting all my links to Web 3.0, and I'm looking forward to see what that feels like. I'm even enjoying posting there much more. And I'll see you next one. Peace.